Hi everyone, Miss Dolman here. Hope you're all doing okay. Our last numeracy lesson today before we're back in school on Monday. Looking forward to seeing you all. Okay then, off we go with our learning. Today's target is I can show that multiplication of two numbers can be done in any order. This is called commutative. To be successful in this lesson, you need to count how many rows, and then count how many in each column. Write down the calculation and then record another way that you could write that calculation, and that is what commutative is. So let's begin this lesson. So we are currently learning about multiplication. Can you remember what the multiplication symbol looks like? That's right, it looks like this. We've looked at equal groups, groups of, repeated addition, arrays, which we're going to look at again today, lots of, which again we're going to touch on, multiplied by, which is a new one, and the word commutative comes up again, and that's very important in today's lesson. Now, a starter activity for you. You have 5 times 3 as your calculation. I would like you to list the other ways of saying this. Think back to the part of the video that I just showed you. List the other ways of saying this, 5 times 3. Pause the video, and what other mathematical vocabulary could you use? Let's see what your options were. You could have written 5 lots of 3. You could have written 5 equal groups of 3. You could have written 3 5 times. And you could have done repeated addition of 3, add 3, add 3, add 3, add 3. How many of these did you get? Also, it can also give the same answer as 3 times 5. 5 times 3 and 3 times 5 would give you the same answer because they are commutative. As I keep going on about commutative, I thought I'd better explain what it means. There is a thing called commutative law. It's a rule or property. So in addition, as well as multiplication, numbers may be added or multiplied together in any order because you get the same answer. So 6 add 2 equals 8, but also if you switch those numbers around, you still get the same answer. 2 add 6 equals 8. When we multiply, so we have 3 times 2 equals 6. If we swap those numbers around, 2 times 3, we still get 6. In addition and multiplication, numbers may be added together in any order. For subtraction and division, the order is most important and it must not be changed. As a result, it gives you different answers. So it's just addition and multiplication that is commutative. So whether you did 2 times 8 or 8 times 2, you'd get the same answer. And that's really important that we're focusing on that in this lesson. So let's begin. I'm going to write number sentences, calculations to match the array. So I'm going to count how many rows, 1, 2, and write that in my calculation. And then I'm going to count how many are in the columns, 1, 2, 3. So my multiplication calculation is 2 times 3, and then remembering that it is commutative, so I'm going to switch the numbers around, which would give me the same answer. So I've got 3 times 2, and they will give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as my answer. 2 times 3 equals 6, 3 times 2 equals 6. They are, that's right, commutative. Let me show you another one. So count how many rows, 1, 2, 3. Count how many in the columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 columns. Right, now we're going to show the other way that we can do it by switching them around, and that's 5 times 3. And that would equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So count how many rows, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. Count how many columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to write the other way that you can do it, the commutative, which is 10 times 4. And that will give me the same answer of 40. And now it's your turn. So I would like you to pick a calculation from the calculation questions. I would like you to draw the arrays and then write down the calculation and then write down the commutative way, the other way that you can write them. See the example. So you've got 4 times 5, you've got 4 in the rows, 5 columns, 4 times 5 equals 20, turn those two numbers around and 5 times 4 gives you 20. 4 lots of 5 is another way of saying it, and 5 lots of 4 is another way of saying it. So that is what I would like you to do now. So pause the video and off you go. Now I would like you to complete the number sentences to describe the arrays. So follow the steps, count how many rows, count how many are in each column, write the calculation and then write it commutative, so write it the opposite way. Pause this video whilst you work them out. And here are the answers, so pause the video whilst you're ticking or fixing. Did you notice the wrong answer? Why is it wrong and why? It should be easy to spot if you know what commutative is. Please write down what my mistake is so I know that you have found it and you understand why. So I've drawn an array that will show 3 times 2. How else could you describe this array? Do you even need to look at the array to find out the answer? No, because you know it's commutative, so the other way from 3 times 2 would be 2 times 3. And let's look at my array. I have drawn 1, 2, 3 and 2 across. So now I would like you to complete the number sentences to describe the arrays. So how many in the row, how many in the column, and then I would like you to draw an array to show 4 times 5. So how many in each column, how many in each row, and draw them. Pause this video whilst you're doing that. And pause the video whilst you tick off or fix your answers. Now we're going to match the arrays to their multiplication calculation. So I'll do this by counting how many rows, 2, and counting how many columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 times 10. Match them up. Do the same. How many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Match it up to the calculation. It should be this one, but I'm just going to double check. Count how many rows? 2. How many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 times 8. Now I would like you to match the arrays to the calculation just like we did. Pause this video whilst you're doing that. And here are the answers. Tick or fix. The array below shows 3 times 10. Is that true or false? And explain how you know. So we've got counting the rows, we've got 1, 2, 3, count the columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, so it's false. And explain how you know. The array shows 3 times 9. There's only 9 in the columns, not 10. And your final task for today's lesson is you have 12 cubes. How many arrays can you create? Show the arrays and write 2 number sentences to describe your array. Once you have done that, can you solve the problem? Part of this array is hidden. The total is less than 18. What could the array be? List all the possible answers as number sentences and pause this video whilst you're doing that. And here are the answers. Tick or fix. So your target today was I can show that multiplication of 2 numbers can be done in any order, and you learnt about the word commutative. So in order to be successful this lesson, you should have counted how many rows. If you did, give yourself a tick. Then we counted how many in each column. We wrote down the calculation, and then we wrote down the other way of writing that calculation, showing that it's commutative. How did you find this lesson? Write down the emoji face that you feel how well you've done today. Did you meet the criteria? And now don't forget to share your work with us in school by sending it through WhatsApp, to the Year 3 email, or on your daily exercise, and going past school, post it in our postbox. I hope that you have worked hard in this lesson, and I will see you nice and early on Monday morning. Take care and have a lovely weekend. Bye bye for now.